Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, IWC. It's your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. And I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Coming to you live to tape, 25 feet below the surface of the earth. Wait a minute, I'm in quite the quandary. I'm in quite the pickle, quite the dilemma. We go through this every time. I'm live right now here on Friday morning, February 23rd, but I am taping this at the same time. Fuck it. You guys get the idea. Welcome back to another episode of Chaos Corner here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. With over 1,000 subscribers, thank you all my followers and friends and family, fans. Much love and respect from the G.O.C. We made the precipice of over 1,000 subscribers. Now we're only a couple hundred hours away from the 4,000 watch hours, and then we can go live and fuck live to tape. Oh, I apologize for cussing. I don't need to cuss. I don't have to cuss. It just happens. We have another episodic adventure here on the channel. An extravaganza, a bonanza, if you will. Today, we are going to cover, briefly, the WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view coming up tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from Perth, Australia. And we're also going to get into some ratings today. AEW Collision, Rampage, Dynamite, SmackDown for the WWE, NXT, Monday Night Raw, WrestleTix, tickets sold, distributed, setups. We're going through it all from pillar to post and coast to coast with me, the G.O.C. Grab a coffee, grab some water, grab a bagel, sit back and relax. All right, fans, now that we hopped off all the other social media platforms, welcome back to Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. I am on a little sabbatical, a hiatus, if you will, on all the other social media platforms, just for the next handful of weeks. But don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, leave a comment, get us in the algorithm, email me, inbox me, for crying out loud. Not only here on the YouTube channel, over on X, aka Twitter, in real time, at Big Daddy G.O.C. And the G.O.C. stands for the Guardian of Chaos. On Instagram, it's the Guardian of Chaos. On Facebook, I have 2 accounts. That's right, there's 2. J Brony, just like it sounds for all you jabronis over there, and Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian. Follow me at Gitter, Gab, Truth Social, Rumble. I cover it all in the IWC. Like I said, I'm on the other social media platforms. I am on a little hiatus, but I will be back. That's why you stay here on the YouTube channel. Go over to my community page and you'll see all kinds of information, updates, live results, and including my home at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. And speaking of PAPW, to get it out of the way here in my opening monologue, tomorrow night, that's right, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live, Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling presents I Love Wrestling. That's right, I Heart Wrestling. Down at the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Training Facility. It's gonna be a banger. All the champions will be there. All the young lions will be there. All the veterans, all the heroes, all the legends, all the students, and of course you, all the fans. The last couple of shows down at PAPW, we have been sold out in the shadows of Titan Towers. Here in the greater New England tri-state Northeast area, it doesn't get any better than that. Now, I'm glad to be back here. This is a much-needed distraction for me right now. And the insanity of the world, from cyber attacks to wars to border invasions to politics to racial division to everything that you could think of that's going on in this country and around the world, including the planet and the sun and the solar flares and threats of EMPs, so on and so forth. Situational awareness is the key to life. Keep your circle small. Hang out with like-minded people. Family, friends. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for any of us. Again, head on a swivel. It's very dangerous out there. Be aware. Travel in groups, and I mean this. This part is a shoot. Shout out to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. because he's coming back soon. Don't be caught dead without him. And if he is for us, no one else can be against us. You better stay fit mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I'm telling you the truth. This is what happens here on Chaos Corner. We mix a little bit of both. Make it relatable. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. With my over 50 years of being a fan, a researcher, historian, agent, scout, talent. Mark. That's right. I said it, a mark. I'm proud to be a mark. We're all marks. And of course, my over 3 decades in the pro wrestling industry / business and my pro wrestling journey. As a pro wrestling manager, commentator, broadcaster, promoter, everything from pillar to post, as I always say. And took the fucking bumps, too. Let that sink in. Oh, hold on a second. I'm already on my second cup here. Bear with me. It's going to be as the kids say, and I'm repeating, that's what I do, I repeat. It's going to be a banger. A little hazelnut this morning. So, let me calm down now. And again, no paywalls, no Patreon, no Super Chats, no Venmo, no Zelle, no fucking PayPal, none of the above. But you can't buy me a cup of coffee, become a member, go to the community page, go to the membership channel, and maybe we can get a little tip in a jar. But I don't care one way or the other because I'm going to do this anyway. It's my motivation, it's my desire, it's my passion, and I hope it comes across to you guys. So let's get started. School is in session. We are down here in the bunker. It's empty throughout the offices, the lounge, the executive boardroom here at Chaos headquarters. I bring you into my home and put a face to the product. Big shout out to everyone that's out there listening to. Everyone that I moderate for, from the #1 fucking podcast, JD and Off the Script. His partners, Ticket Drew, Andrew Baydala, the Chi-Town Smart, Heel Jesse. Of course, the OG of podcasts, Don Tony. His partner, Kevin Castle. My boys over at the Wrestling Council, Comic Book Bob, Hollywood, and Johnny. Of course, Maurice and Jack Kilby over at Cheap Heat Productions. Everybody, as I always say, up and down 95, across 84, on a journey to 91. That's what we do here, from state to state. So I just want to put that out there. And of course, there's my boys that are also group moderators for different channels and that are out right now doing their own podcasts, whether it be Big O Gaming, my boy Otis, along with my another #1 boy on the OTS podcast moderators, Hooligan, of course, Funny Rob, Bay, Jeremy, the Mid-Missouri Smark, Midwestern Smark, all the boys, all the guys, and of course the OTS Tribal Queen, Jen, who's always over there moderating with my buddy Austin Nance on the Don Tony Show. So all my guys and gals out there that do what I do, have their own shows, their own podcasts, but this right here is one of a fucking kind. I apologize for the cussing, I really do. So we're almost 9 minutes in. I guess we'll start off with what's going to happen not that long from now. 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Elimination Chamber on the road to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia in April. Now, there's only going to be about 5 matches, I think, on the Elimination Chamber. Got to get all the way over there, down under, a little trip on the Barbie. Australia's going through a lot of things politically as well, through the countryside and through their government as well. So I hope all the talent stays safe over there. Whether you're traveling to Saudi Arabia in the Middle East, or even Australia, there's a lot of things going on in the world. And again, that's why I'm here, for a distraction for all of us. So again, I really appreciate it. And as I said, much love and respect for you guys. So tomorrow morning live from Perth, as I said, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's the lineup, here's the card, here's the matchups, and I'll give my predictions. I will be up at 5 a.m. to watch it, and I know a bunch of the podcasters out there will be doing live broadcasts, or later on in the day on Saturday they'll be doing stuff. you'll get it here as well. As I said, stay attuned to the community page. We start off with, there's going to be the Grayson Waller Effect show, a la Miz TV, a la back to the day of Piper's Pit, or even the Dr. Love show. I love you. What an annoying bastard he was. I don't want to get into all the stuff that's going on with Vince McMahon and Johnny Laurinaitis and all the horrible, tragic allegations and stuff that has been brought to light, and all the stuff that's coming back from the past, whether it be the Pat Patterson and Ring Boy scandals and so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff going on out there in the news. Scott D'Amore being fired over at TNA Impact. Nobody knows why. The talent supporting him. We know what's going on in the WWE. Pritchard isn't gone yet. Kevin Dunn has left. Laurinaitis is in big trouble. Vince, that crazy old bastard, is in big trouble. Sick, despicable, disgusting human beings. All the stuff from the late, great Ashley Massaro has come back to light. There's a lot of things going on, including the disgusting sexual innuendos and things that are going on with McMahon, the front office. Who knows who knew? They say Stephanie knew, Triple H knew. I'm not here to talk about all that. That could be a whole nother show that can go on for hours. But stay tuned, because the wrestling world gets more insane and crazy by the day. I want to focus on the positive, not the negative of what's going on with the current allegations. And speaking of that, if you want to hear hard-hitting truths, and speaking of podcasts, the head trainer, my old buddy, former Four Horsemen, Power and Glory, Pretty Wonderful, Young Stallions, Pretty Paul Roma, has his own show back on the air. And what is it called? Hey Roma. That's right, Hey Roma! With his broadcast and podcast partner, owner of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, in the WWF from 84 to 92, and that would be one Mario Mancini, who also has his own show with Maurice and Jack Kilby on Cheap Heat Productions, the Mario Mancini Show. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things to watch. There's a lot of content. Everybody's mother, brother, uncles, cousins, sisters, ass is doing this. So back onto the Grayson Waller Effect. Apparently, the third world champion of the company, the B champion, as Roman and The Rock would say, Seth Rollins and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, still trying to finish that story, will be the guests over in Perth, Australia for Elimination Chamber on the Grayson Waller Effect. So let's see what happens as Cody and Seth, strange bedfellows right now. We know what happened at the WrestleMania press conference out in Vegas during Super Bowl weekend. The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and of course when The Rock bitch slapped Cody Rhodes, the slap heard around the world. Not as infamous or real as David Schultz slapping the shit out of John Stossel at Madison Square Garden. That was the slap around the world. But leading into this, we know The Rock is back. We know they kind of screwed up some of the storyline and booking and had to backtrack. At least that's the allegations. It will be Cody and Roman. Let's see if Cody finishes the story. But they're always talking about Cody finishing the story. Go back to the NWA days, Jim Crockett promotion days in the 80s. The NWA, as I said, Starrcade. Dusty Rhodes finished his story 3 fucking times. Yeah, it wasn't the WWE Championship when he went against superstar Billy Graham. Graham over the top rope. Dusty won by disqualification. Obviously, the belt doesn't change hands during disqualification or over the top rope back in the day. But Dusty Rhodes has already finished his story, rest in peace, by winning the most important world championship in all of pro wrestling history, arguably the NWA title 3 times. So he didn't win the WWF title. I get it's with the storyline here. And of course the bloodline. We the Ones. Tribal Chief, head of the table. What's going to happen with Rock and Roman? They have banded together now, as has Cody and Seth Rollins. Will there be a tag team matchup at WrestleMania leading into night 2? Will Cody win the championship at WrestleMania? The main Universal Championship from Roman Reigns. So we'll see what comes out of Elimination Chamber on the road to WrestleMania with Cody and Seth freaking Rollins on the Grayson Waller effect. So that will be on the Elimination Chamber early tomorrow morning. Also, Rhea Ripley, one bad bitch who's from Australia, will be putting up the WWE Women's title against the Destruction Machine, Samoan Dynasty member Nia Jax, who since she's been back and returned to the WWE has literally squashed every opponent she's come across. You could say whatever you want about her being dangerous in the ring, her not being well-liked, her working dangerous, sloppy. But I don't know if I agree with all that. I met her in person last year. A very nice lady that has nothing to do with how she is in the ring. But they've booked her and brought her back the right way this time. In my opinion, there's no fucking way that Nia Jax beats Rhea Ripley. Perhaps the best women's grappler in the game today. Certainly the most over right now. I'm a big fan of Rhea Ripley. And to be in her home country of Australia, this should be an okay matchup as far as the women's division goes. My prediction, Rhea Ripley retains the title against Nia Jax over in Perth, Australia. Come on, she's not going to lose in her home country. Plus, she has no right losing to Nia Jax anyway, although it would be believable if you want to talk about believability. That's just my thoughts. For the WWE Tag Team titles, the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, defend against Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I don't know, the Brawling Brutes, Blitz, whatever you want to call them. Now, they're there to earn this championship because they went over recently on DIY. Gargano and Ciampa, perhaps two of the most technical grapplers in all of WWE, and especially when they were in NXT against each other. Did it get much better than Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, whatever the fuck, tomato, when they were in NXT in black and gold? And now teaming up on the main roster? So that wasn't actually a surprising upset for Dunn and Bate to be able to beat DIY. But that's why they're here. That's why they're going for the World Tag Team titles for the WWE. And listen, in my opinion, there's no way that Judgment Day loses this title over in Australia. I'm just telling you, I don't see it happening. And what are they doing with Priest? Has this guy cooled off more than any other major star in the WWE? The Judgment Day a little worn out maybe? Dirty Dom, so on and so forth. Now Rhea doing great on her own. Balor has lost a little bit. Yeah, okay, they're the tag team champions. What are you saying, Chaos? I'm just telling you how I see it. For as much as I see no way Rhea Ripley loses to Nia Jax, there's no way that Judgment Day loses to Dunn and Bate leading to WrestleMania 40. Just my opinion. Again, it's a short matchup over there in Perth, Australia. So that's my prediction. The Judgment Day retains the titles. We go to the Women's Elimination Chamber. Here's the participants and who they defeated to get into the chamber. Now, we know the rules in the pods in the Elimination Chamber. One person, one grappler, one talent at a time till the chamber's empty, so on and so forth. This will make the woman who wins the chamber the number one contender, earning a title shot going into WrestleMania 40. I'm 20 years older than WrestleMania 40. Holy cramoly, let that sink in. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Let that marinate. Naomi versus Becky Lynch, the man, the stupidest gimmick I ever heard of in my life. The man is a woman, Becky Lynch. Don't like it, never liked it, never agreed with it, although she's a great grappler. Naomi versus Becky Lynch versus the EST Bianca Belair. Let me twirl like she twirls her hair. I'll twirl the chain, but it's kind of heavy, might hit me in the face. Versus Liv Morgan. I don't know if she deserves to be there, but she is. Versus Tiffany Stratton, who's the fastest, hottest, rising young star in the women's division. Versus Raquel Rodriguez. That's quite the championship matchup there. Again, no Io Shirai, Io Sky, whatever you want to talk about, Dakota Kai, Bayley. Well, I get it. You can't put everybody on there. There might be a match that I'm missing that might be added after tonight's SmackDown. I'm not sure. So Naomi versus Becky versus Bianca versus Liv Morgan versus Tiffany Stratton versus Raquel Rodriguez. Now let's remember, qualifying matchups to get into the Women's Elimination Chamber. Becky Lynch went over on Shayna Baszler. Bianca Belair went over on Mia Yim. Minchin, whatever you want to call her. She's Mia Yim to me. Liv Morgan defeated Zoe Stark. Naomi and Tiffany Stratton defeated Alba Fry and Zelina Vega. And of course, Raquel Rodriguez won the Women's Battle Royal qualifier. So that was the road for the ladies to get into the Elimination Chamber. And whoever wins the chamber gets a shot at Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. Now remember, Charlotte Flair's injured, still out. As I said, no Bayley. Disappointed, to be quite honest with you, but that's another storyline for another time. My prediction for the Women's Chamber, it's not going to be Naomi. It's not going to be Raquel Rodriguez. It's not going to be Tiffany Stratton. It's not going to be Liv Morgan. I don't believe, because she's already shined and been there, I don't believe it's going to be Bianca Belair. My opinion, it's written out for the woman, Becky Lynch. This ought to be a solid matchup. I like seeing the younger stars in there. Stratton on the rise. Raquel Rodriguez. Welcome back, Naomi. We obviously know the EST is one of the best in the world. Liv Morgan, okay, a little overrated in my opinion, but she's there. My prediction, Women's Chamber, said it already. Becky Lynch wins the Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia, to go against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. We move on to what I would consider the main event. The Men's Elimination Chamber, again, for number one contendership, for a title shot. But obviously not at Roman Reigns, but at the B-player title shot, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40. So that's what this matchup is for over in Perth. A little trip on the Barbie, as I said. I used to drink Foster's back in the day. And that motor oil looking can, it was pretty good stuff. You remember Outback Jack in the old WWF days? Or the movies Crocodile Dundee with Paul Hogan? Some good stuff. Even the movie Flipper. I think that was in Florida, though. Anyway, you get the point, right? And not to mention, in PAPW, we have our own, the Crocodile King, Alan Compass. I don't know how the fuck he got in this conversation, but I'm throwing it out there, Compass, so I hope you watch it. Again, tomorrow night, Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. On YouTube, all social media platforms. Follow it. My home country. My home county. My home company. So here we go. Kevin Owens versus Bobby Lashley versus Randy Orton versus LA Knight, and I'll say it like everyone else does, Eli Drake, yeah, LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre. And boy, has he had a change in attitude lately, especially since he wasn't too happy with CM Punk. That's right, Pink's Punk. Get it, Pink's Punk? We're racing for Pink's Punk. What movie was that from? Grease. That's right, Grease. They're racing for Pink's Punk. I know, I say that all the time. I just wanted to throw it in there. Entertainment value. That's what you get here on Chaos Corner. Versus Logan Paul. Owens versus Lashley versus Orton versus LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre versus Logan Paul. Again, one of the hottest stars and celebrities and transitional athletes that has ever stepped into the WWE. Logan Paul is a force to be reckoned with. Has anybody else ever made a greater transition? Maybe Kurt Angle? It's a force to be reckoned with. Again, the winner goes for Rollins' title at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia coming up in April. My prediction to go against Rollins. I don't believe it's going to be Kevin Owens. I don't believe it's going to be Bobby Lashley. I don't believe it's going to be the most overrated guy in my opinion, just my opinion. Good athlete, good grappler. LA Knight, yeah. Fucking annoying is that. I don't even think it'll be Logan Paul, although could be the athlete that's deserving. This is kind of being written up for Drew McIntyre, who we've talked about how he's been screwed over before during the COVID era. The COVID champion, in front of nobody. Will McIntyre win the chamber? Will Randy Orton, the Viper, win the chamber? More than qualified, more than earned it. A true legend, first ballot Hall of Famer, Randy Orton. But here's my prediction. Here's what I'm going with. Write it down. Drew McIntyre wins the chamber to face Rollins at WrestleMania 40 for the B title. That's right, I said the fucking B title. And again, I apologize for cussing. Please, I try not to. It goes along with the character and it just comes out, and I know it's not right, but I get it. So that's my... Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Randy Orton won. I wouldn't be stunned if Logan Paul won. Everybody's pulling for LA Knight. So, I mean, this one out of all the bouts that are at Elimination Chamber early tomorrow morning for Rollins' title at WrestleMania 40, I'm going with Drew McIntyre. But I wouldn't be stunned. Drew McIntyre, write it down for the Elimination Chamber. Here's who they defeated to get to the chamber as I go forward to go back here on my previews and predictions of the Elimination Chamber. McIntyre went over on AJ Styles. Randy Orton beat Sami Zayn. Lashley defeated Big Bronson Reed. LA Knight went over on Ivar. And if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Owens and Logan Paul beat The Miz. That's awesome. And Dirty Dom Mysterio. Those are the qualifiers that got them into the chamber to earn that shot at WrestleMania 40. If I'm not mistaken, if I got my notes right, I try to see, not only is this a historical channel here where I do live to tape watch-alongs, cover all the major organizations and the independents. I do this date in pro wrestling history, story time with the G.O.C., reporting on all the old classics and legends, priceless history, useless tidbits of information, my own career and every event that I've been on. 2.7 thousand videos on the channel, coming up on 500,000 total views. Navigate, check it out as the chains come off here on Chaos Corner. Bear with me, stand with me here. I appreciate you guys being here. We're 28 minutes in before we move on. So that's what I see for tomorrow morning's Elimination Chamber for the WWE, Perth, Australia. I don't think I missed anything. I gave you my predictions. Men's Elimination Chamber, Drew McIntyre, although I wouldn't be stunned if Orton won. Even Logan Paul or LA Knight. I just don't see Owens or Lashley winning that. But I'm going to go with McIntyre to get the number one contendership to face Rollins at WrestleMania 40. Women's Elimination Chamber, I'm going with Becky Lynch to win the number one contendership to go against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. Tag team titles, Judgment Day will retain over Bate and Dunn, my opinion. Let's see what happens on the Grayson Waller effect with Cody, Seth Rollins. Will The Rock be in Perth, Australia? I don't know. Will the Bloodline be in Perth, Australia? Jimmy or Jay, Solo, Roman Reigns, the Wise Man? So, again, I believe there's only 4 or 5 matchups. I might be missing one. The interview section with Waller, the 2 Elimination Chambers, the tag team title, the women's title. I'm not sure if there's a pre-show. I know it comes on at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the pre-show for Elimination Chamber. I don't know if there's any more matches to be added once we get through SmackDown tonight. So with 30 minutes in, there's my preview and predictions, my opening monologue, Elimination Chamber. Let's move on here to the ratings over the last several weeks. The end of January into all of February. Here on February 23rd. We're going to go through the last shows, tickets distributed, what the setup is, where the state was or the county located, the city, and see the huge difference in the live events between the WWE and AEW. It really is astounding. It really is. And then we'll go through some of the ratings as well. For the Elimination Chamber, this is what I have thus far here the morning before. Less than 24 hours to the Elimination Chamber. The setup over there in Perth, Australia holds 49,738. Almost 50,000. The tickets distributed thus far have been 47,875. So there still might be about 1,500 tickets available. I predict by tomorrow morning, by the time the event goes off, it will be sold out in Perth, Australia. They haven't been over there in, 2 decades? At least a decade? Since the WWE has been over in Australia. A very dangerous country right now, if you go by human rights and what the government's doing and the lockdowns and so on and so forth since COVID. And they've really become tyrannical over there. I'm just putting it out there. It's a part of this show. So I expect there to be damn near 50,000 and sold out tomorrow for the Elimination Chamber. Let's face it, for the PLEs, which I call fucking pay-per-views, the WWE puts people in the live events. And you're going to see that as we move on. So that's the setup for tomorrow morning. Here's the attendance figures and ticket sales that I've been keeping track of through several different sources, including WrestleTix. We'll go for tonight's event, or tomorrow night's AEW Collision. Tomorrow night in Missouri. The setup is only for 2,600 fans. And so far, tickets distributed are 2,006, so a little over 2,000. But the setup is only for 2,600 fans. So that's for tomorrow night's Collision. Not even 3,000 fans. Let's go back to this past Wednesday, February 21st, AEW Dynamite, which was set up to be a solid show with some big stars on there. The setup was for 3,262 fans. I believe they were in Alabama. No, Tulsa, Oklahoma, one of the legendary territories in the UWF, the Mid-South. AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, the 21st of February, 3,128 fans. A little over 3,000 fans. You see that, right? You're listening. You're paying attention, right? For Collision next week, again, I'm a week ahead, so tickets can be sold. AEW Dynamite and Collision on February 28th. The setup is only for 2,582 fans, a little over 2,500 fans. And thus far, for February 28th's Dynamite, they've sold 2,295 tickets. What are we at, a fucking indie show? These arenas that they're renting out and using for venues hold 10, 12, 15, 18, 20,000 fans. They're setting up for 2,000 and 3,000 fans, and they're not even selling out. This is the live attendance and live gates for AEW Dynamite. The number 1 show. Collision, the number 2 show. Rampage, again, which is taped on those shows. Collision on the 24th, tomorrow. 2,600 fans or less. Dynamite this past weekend. Little over 3,000 fans live. Dynamite next week. 2,500 fans if you're lucky. And I know we're, 2-3 weeks away from big business in Boston, Beantown, for the return of the boss, Mercedes Moné. Sasha Banks, how do you like how I did that, right? Quite the tongue twister. The setup in Beantown at the TD Bank is for 7,176 fans. Tickets distributed thus far, 6,205 fans. Now, not bad. Again, still, this is on the big side. It's not a pay-per-view. It's not Revolution that's coming up. But I get it. Big business where, again, the number 1 lady, all the things they've been talking about with Mercedes, Sasha, whatever you want to call her. Great athlete, little overrated in my opinion. Her home area, just going on way too long, is being dragged down, and the money they want. It's all about supply and demand. I'm just giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly here on the channel. So that'll be a nice crowd if they can get 7,000 fans into the TD Bank Arena. That one show at Dynamite has sold more than Collision and Dynamite and Rampage has in the last 2 weeks. This is what people are talking about. AEW's not dying, not going anywhere. I certainly don't want it to. I'm an AEW fan. Competition is good. It's a much-needed, viable alternative. Whether it's New Japan, Ring of Honor, MLW, the NWA, TNA Impact, the New Japan, I already said CMLL, AAA. It doesn't matter what you're calling it. The independents. It's a much-needed, viable alternative. AEW's number 2 right now. But the live attendance figures. Okay, Dynamite for big business will be a solid crowd. But when you're getting 2,000 and 3,000 fans for your live events on a weekly basis, is it oversaturation? Is it poor booking? Is it the talent? You tell me. Leave a comment. I don't believe it's the talent. This is what I have to do here. Read the description here in the bio. A little tight on the traps. That's what I feel like right now as an AEW fan. So let that sink in as far as what the live attendance figures are for AEW. Let's move forward before I get to the WWE. AEW Collision in Louisville. We're a month away, March 30th. Doing pretty damn good. The setup, again, only for 4,200 fans, but they've sold 3,200 tickets already, distributed. And again, that's nothing compared to their competition. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. So Louisville, Kentucky, Collision, again, March 30th, we're a month away. The setup for only 4,200 fans. And they've already distributed 3,250 tickets. It just really is mind-blowing, the live attendance and how it has dwindled. I'm not talking about what's coming up in March for Revolution in Greensboro, North Carolina. Sting, his retirement match, is going to be a packed show. It's going to be jammed. The setup is for 16,130 fans. Tickets distributed thus far here on February 23rd. And again, Revolution is what, on March 5th? March 4th or 5th, I believe? Next weekend? Tickets distributed 15,910, so almost 16,000. I predict Revolution in Greensboro, North Carolina for Sting's retirement will be sold out with 16,000 fans. Now that's impressive. That's how you should be doing it for your pay-per-views. So Tony Khan and AEW always seems to pull it out of the box and the rabbit out of the hat for the pay-per-view. It's just my opinion. They're always pretty solid and well worth the money. So those are the numbers, but you see the weekly shows. Not only are the ratings under 1 million every week, under 900,000. We'll get onto that. I'm not going to break it down quarter by quarter. I'll just give you the last bunch of weeks. Collision, Rampage, Dynamite are dwindling. Okay, big business in Boston will have a decent crowd. The Revolution pay-per-view. But man, the live events for AEW, and again, I'm going on and on here. Going down the toilet. It really is. And I know, again, this is another good sign for AEW, but let's remember the venue. All Out over in Wembley in London. Tickets been on sale now for months, and they'll be on for months. The setup over there is for a little under 50,000 fans, as compared to last year when they had it set up for like 80 or 90,000 fans, which was a bonanza, an extravaganza last year. The setup is for 49,277 fans coming up this year, August 25th for All In. Already tickets distributed are 39,190, if I got the numbers correct. Almost 40,000 out of the 49,000 setup. I predict, obviously, still plenty of time, Wembley, like last year, will be just about a damn near sellout. It's not going to be the crowd from last year, but they'll get 50K at Wembley. So you see the double-edged sword, the good, the bad, and the ugly of AEW, and these are as of today, ticket sales distributed, what the setup is. Better start working on your home show of Dynamite and getting people to start watching Collision again. Rampage is taped. Whatever you get for rankings on a Friday night late after SmackDown is a bonus if you're lucky. That's just the way it is, and it's part of Dynamite anyway. It's just taped afterwards. So those are the updated tickets distributed, what the setup is, and you could see AEW having the big problems at 40 minutes in here. We'll probably go close to an hour. So I hope you stay for the whole thing. Share this out. Like I said, get in touch with me. Leave a comment. Now we're going to go to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. The different towns and cities. We'll go back to go forward here in Chaos Corner. We'll go for February 16th, February 17th, February 18th. SmackDown, Raw, Live, Fox, USA. Before we get to the 5 billion Netflix and so on and so forth. Talk about money. Not to mention the millions from Saudi Arabia. Really? February 16th, SmackDown in Utah. Over 11,000 people for the live event. Sold out. Again, with The Rock coming back and Roman and Cody and the whole story. That's why the WWE must be like butter, because they're on a roll right now. Let that sink in compared to Collision and Dynamite and Rampage. One show, one night outbeats all 3 shows from AEW. That's just the facts. How are you going to go against a megalo machine? AEW could be an insignificant cog in the wheel of pro wrestling, but nonetheless still important. And I'm a fan of all wrestling. I want them to succeed. I cover the product. So SmackDown on the 16th sold out over 11,000 fans. On the 17th in Oakland, California, which is a shithole. That's why the A's left, the Raiders left, Golden State went across the bay. They're all done over there in Oakland with the crime and society and everything else over there. Nothing against the Oaklanders who are good people. I'm just telling it like it is because that's what I do. The setup was for 7,600 on the road to WrestleMania, and they still got 7,000 people there in Oakland. Not bad. That's still double and triple Dynamite, Collision, Rampage. Just about week after week. The next night, February 18th in Fresno, California on the West Coast Tour. Road to WrestleMania show. Set up for 10,500 fans. I believe they got over 9,000 fans at the live gate. And remember, these are not big cities. It's a big state, but not big cities, and they're still drawing 6, 7, 8, 10, 11,000. Utah, Fresno, Oakland. SmackDown in Arizona. Over 11,000 fans live coming up from March 1st. SmackDown's going to be in Arizona next week. The setup is for 11,427 in the arena. Right now, tickets distributed 11,375. It'll be another sellout. Raw coming up this Monday night in San Jose, California. Again, you can see they're on the West Coast, from Utah to Arizona to California to Las Vegas, where they had the press conference, where they had thousands, and it was free just for a press conference. The setup in San Jose for this Monday night for Raw, 11,304, and they've already distributed 11,142 tickets. So Monday Night Raw will be a sellout with over 11,000 fans. You're getting 11,000 on SmackDown, 11,000, 12,000 on Raw. Let's face it, Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, only 5 years, coming up 6 years in existence. I get it. But you can't consider yourself competition with WWE right now. Back in 2021, yeah. When AEW was fresh and new and seemed to be better booking and not everybody was injured. No MJF has really put a damper on this, am I right? They could bring him back as the fucking heel he was instead of the bromance turned out to be a waste with Adam Cole. Just my opinion. I'm telling you the way it is. Thank God Samoa Joe's the heavyweight, a legit champion. Just calling it like I see it. San Antonio coming up on the following Monday Night Raw. Again, we're a week or two away. These are the updated numbers. It could change. It's only going to go up. So let that marinate. The setup is for 11,024 in San Antonio for Monday Night Raw on March 4th. and they've already distributed just about 10,000 tickets. So it's going to be another sellout. SmackDown, Raw, back to selling out 10, 11,000, and even in the lower numbers, they're getting 7 and 8,000 and 10,000 live at the gate. The live gate matters, especially if you're not running fucking a lot of house shows. So those are the recent numbers, and I have more. Let's move on here, fans. This is what you get. You come here to learn things, to understand things. Factual information. Don't come here to fuck around. Now this is looking forward. March 8th in Dallas, SmackDown. The setup is for 11,637 fans. They've already distributed over 10,000 tickets, and we're weeks away. SmackDown in Dallas on March 8th will be a sellout of over 11,000 fans. Monday Night Raw coming up a month away. March 25th at the Rosemont in Illinois. Great wrestling town, shit city in current day. Libtard, crime-ridden. The setup for March 25th at Raw at the Rosemont in Illinois, the setup is for 11,859. You know how many tickets have been distributed already? 11,859, so they're going to have 12,000. It's weeks away, a month away, and it's already sold out. Are you seeing the pattern here in what's going on? Monday Night Raw in Philadelphia. Before WrestleMania. Oh, wait, the weekend well, let me get the date straight. This is after WrestleMania. The night after WrestleMania, which is always huge bonanza in ratings. The setup for Raw in Philadelphia on April 8th. Now, we're over a month away. The setup is for 16,909, almost 17,000 fans. That's how you book a big arena. And already, almost 16,000 seats have been distributed. 15,732. So not only will WrestleMania Night 1 and 2 be sold out, I'm sure. Raw, the Monday after, which is always a guarantee. I know, Chaos, you're not telling us anything we don't know. I'm just giving you the numbers, the breakdown, the analytics, the research. I'm a numbers guy. It will be sold out with over 16,000, almost 17,000 fans on April 8th in Raw in Philadelphia after WrestleMania. Before I get into already, just about a couple months away, what are we, a month and a half away, get my date straight, in early April, I'll get to what's already been distributed for WrestleMania Night 1 and 2, which I believe the setup is for 50,000 fans. If I'm not mistaken. I got to double check my numbers here. My mind's like a lazy Susan. It'll come back around. I have amnesia and deja vu at the same time. I think I've forgotten this before. I was confused as a baby at Hooters. Is it lunch? Is it breakfast? Is it dinner? I don't know. Hooters? Wings? I don't know. Just to throw in another little tidbits, because that's what you get here. And these are shows in late March and early April, but other different organizations. Just to give you the breakdown and compare them. I'm not going to get into TNA, Impact, or MLW, or New Japan right now, or Ring of Honor. They have pay-per-view coming up as well. This is CMLL and the Arena de Mexico, Mexico City, Mexico. From March 29th. The setup is for 6,086 fans. They've already distributed over 6,000 tickets. So CMLL, and I get it's in Mexico City. You might as well call it America, because they're already here. Does it matter at this point? The border? Just like to throw this in there. They are outdrawing Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. Over 6,000 will be sold out for CMLL. Spectacular. No me jodas, maricón, muévete, culo pendejo. No offende, nada. It's a joke. It's a word. Kayfabe. For all my fans across the border. Which you're here anyway, so is there a border? No. So that's March 29th, CMLL. And I'm a big fan, historically, back to the 70s and 80s of Lucha Libre. From Puerto Rico to Mexico, and so on and so forth. So just to give you what other organizations are doing in other countries. New Japan Pro Wrestling, that's right, AEW, will be in Chicago on April 12th, the weekend after WWE's WrestleMania and all the indie shows and groups around Philly during WrestleMania weekend. The setup is for 6,627 fans in Chicago for New Japan on April 12th. They've already sold over 5,000, distributed over 5,000 tickets. And we're what? Almost 2 months away? Month and a half away, I'm sorry. So on April 12th, when New Japan is in Chicago, you might as well say New Japan AEW, they'll have probably close to a sellout at over 6,600 fans. The home company doesn't even get that. And this is in April. We move on. You see, I'm always prepared. I do my due diligence. WWE in Philadelphia for WrestleMania 40 nights 1 and 2. And I was a little off on my setup. The setup for both nights coming up in early April, 4th and 5th, I believe. 3rd and 4th, somewhere around there. The setup is for 60,012 fans. 60K on both nights. Already, night 1, tickets distributed 56,591. No surprise. Chaos, you're not telling us WrestleMania is just about sold out every year for the last 40 years. I know. I'm just breaking it down to you so you can get a grasp on it. Night 2, 57,906, almost 58,000 tickets distributed out of the 60,000 already. So you can guarantee that by WrestleMania 40 in early April, 3rd and 4th, I believe, or 4th and 5th, that weekend, WrestleMania weekend, will be sold out with 60,000 fans over them. So it'll be a combined over 120,000 fans in 2 nights for WrestleMania night 1 and 2. And I told you that the next night in Philadelphia, they've already have it set up and sold out. It'll be sold out for 16,000. So there's going to be 120. They'll be probably close in total stand-around company, this, that. Probably for the 3 nights, WWE will have a live gate of 150,000 fans. Now you can say, oh, Chaos, AEW Wembley All Out had 85,000, 81,000, whatever they had, whatever the official number was. Haven't been there in 20 years. It was the first time. We'll see what will happen this year. They won't outdraw WrestleMania night 1 or 2. And I'm just making comparisons here. I'm not shitting on one company or the other. Should I say that? It's good shit, pal, with what's going on with McMahon and Laurinaitis and all that stuff. Probably not. Too early? My bad. So there are the numbers. There's what you see. This is what I wanted to give to you guys to show you the reality and the statistical facts and, of course, the previews and predictions because you know I'm a numbers guy and I like this. Let's go through the ratings. Now, listen, wrestling is on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights if you count TNA Impact, Friday nights, Saturday nights, 6 nights a week. Here's the numbers. Here's the breakdown. Here's how it breaks down. I'll start off with AEW. Here's the last 4 weeks, the last month of the TV ratings for AEW. Dynamite. Last week, 828,000 fans. Now, we know they get the rub from the big bangers that come over. That's why the early quarter hours, which I follow, whether it be through WrestleNomics or Cornette or so on and so forth, Alvarez, and I do follow the numbers. They don't always tell the story, but if you get the TV rankings, numbers, pay-per-view buys, plus the live gate attendances, I think that's a pretty good fucking statistical thing to go by because numbers don't lie, right? So AEW last week, 828,000 fans. This is all through February and late January. 828,000 fans last week. Prior week, 811,000 for the rankings. Prior week, 805,000 for the rankings. Prior week, 818,000 for the rankings. So the last month of AEW Dynamite TV rankings, not demographics, not even rankings, TV ratings, 828, 811, 805, 818. What's that? An average of about, I don't know, somewhere around 810,000 fans on an average a week, a little over 800,000 fans for the number one show. At one point, they were hitting over 1 million. Still some quarter hours to go over 1 million, especially the beginning the Big Bang rub, but you can see what's going on. Now, if you were making up for at the gate, it makes a difference. But are Warner and mergers and the TV companies happy about this? I'm just giving you the numbers because I'm a part of that 800,000. Let's go to Collision on Saturday nights. Tough night. The last 3 weeks. Last week, 491,000 fans. The previous week, 404,000. The previous week to that, 300,000. Again, they were preempted. They're competing against NBA, NHL, whatever your mother's, cricket, badminton, I don't know, beach volleyball, whatever you want to call it. The March Madness, I don't know. So the rankings and the ratings, I keep saying the ratings have gone up depending on whether they're on the regular slot. But again, the last 3 weeks, you could even go previous, not even over 500,000. Saturday night's a tough draw, I get it. Rampage, Friday nights after SmackDown, taped. Last week, 456,000. Not bad. Previous week, 314,000 on Rampage. The week previous to that, 382,000 on Rampage. Again, tough spot, tape show. You can count it in with Dynamite because it's always taped with Dynamite. It's very rarely live. Not over 500,000. They usually averaging in the 300,000s. I'm just calling it like I see it. So there's Dynamite ratings, Collision ratings, Rampage ratings. Rampage averaging in the 300,000s, Collision in the 400,000s, Dynamite in the 800,000s. That's the breakdown for AEW 3 times a week. 2 live, 1 taped. Let's go to NXT Raw and SmackDown for the WWE. All live, all the time. NXT on Tuesday nights. Last week, 616,000. The previous week, 650,000 in the TV ratings. The previous week, 648,000 in the TV ratings. So there's NXT, the third show on a Tuesday night for the WWE, averaging over these last bunch of weeks, over 600,000, 650,000 for the C show. Monday Night Raw, which is the mothership, and it was for years, especially during the Monday Night Wars. As you see, the sound system is going down here. Should we turn it back on? Alexa, play Tropical Thunderstorm sounds for my fans. Isn't that what you guys like? Not bad by NXT. Obviously, outranking Rampage, outranking Collision. 150, 200,000 behind Dynamite. Although Dynamite usually loses 100 to 200,000 people from the 8 o'clock hour to 10 o'clock. In the 700,000s, a lot of the times in the different quarters. That's another story, a statistical show for another time. Those are the facts. Monday Night Raw, as I said, the mothership as we come up on almost an hour. This will be up on Friday for you guys for the weekend and before Elimination Chamber. Monday Night Raw last week, 1.87 million in the ratings. The week before, 1.89 million. The week before that, I believe it was only 1.9 million. But here's what we know, and Monday Night Raw has had some of its worst ratings in the last year or so. 1.4 million, 1.5 million, 1.7, 1.8. A lot of times not even breaking 2 million. But here it is on Monday night on USA. The mothership for the WWE, drawing almost 2 million people every Monday night. And that's a 3-hour show. Who the fuck watches wrestling for 3 hours unless it's a banger of a pay-per-view? Let's be honest. It's a tough watch, especially with 6 nights a week. Oversaturation, competition, whatever you want to call it. Supply and demand. So there's Raw's ratings, which are traditionally down because for the longest time, Raw was drawing over 2 million. Now maybe the product changes more. They're on in fuego right now. Still hovering around the 1.92 million mark for Monday Night Raw. The big one, ratings-wise, Friday Night SmackDown. And again, who knows what's going to happen once it goes to Netflix, so on and so forth. The merger has been successful so far. Looks like the whole McMahon era is done, over and out. Despicable, disgusting human beings, if what turns out to be true. SmackDown last week, 2.6 million in the ratings. 2.6 million fans, households, which breaks down to how many if you want to figure it out. The previous week, 2.46 million. The week prior to that, this is all through the end of January into February, up to current February 23rd, 2024, 2.5 million. So SmackDown averaging over 2.5 million fans every Friday night, 2-hour show. So if you look at all the shows, SmackDown's number one for the big six, we'll call them. SmackDown's number one, obviously. Raw's number two. Dynamite's number three. NXT is number four. Collision number five. Rampage number six. So 4 out of the top 5 shows are the WWE. Or 3 out of the top 4 shows, I should say. So let's put the numbers together. I failed math in college twice, non-credit math. I had to take it until I got to my 3rd semester and then was able to pass the credited math course. But I certainly could figure out my paycheck. Don't get it fucked up. Don't get it twisted, man. Ain't no half-stepping. In order to get respect, you have to start with respecting yourself. Once you do that, you open other people's minds to respecting you. Because there's 3 types of people in this world. Those who don't know what happened, those who wonder what happened, and people like the G.O.C. Big Daddy that make things happen. It's all ad-lib, man. This is why I did it. This is why I do it for you. So, in my numbers here, we'll say roughly the WWE on a weekly basis is averaging about 6 million people. 6 million viewers, 6 million households between SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. SmackDown 1.9, almost 2 million, sometimes lower, give or take here, average over the last month. Raw, 1.9 million. SmackDown, 2.5 million. NXT, 650,000. Do the numbers, do the math. AEW Dynamite, we're going to say what? 8? Not even 2 million or total. 820,000 we'll go 815,000 for Dynamite on an average. Collision will go, I'll be generous and give it 450,000. Right? What's that? Almost 1.5 million. Rampage will give it 350,000. So under 2 million for its 3 shows. We'll even go on the high ceiling and say 2 million for its 3 shows. Being hammered. And I get it. One company 50 years, another company 5-6 years. But they all have the greatest talent in the world. They're all doing much better than TNA Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor, MLW, NWA, GCW, PAPW. Does it fucking matter? And again, I apologize. Those are the numbers that don't lie. That's what I have for you fans. That's what I came up with. I thought it was an interesting topic, current topic. I will be back here on Chaos Corner to do more updates and today, this date in pro wrestling history. I'll be back with story time with the G.O.C. And of course, I will be back here to review and preview AEW Revolution. Also, WrestleManias 1 and 2 for WrestleMania Night 1 and 2, WrestleMania 40. And I might even be back with the review of the Elimination Chamber, but I doubt it. It's going to be a short event, although impactful. And I'll still stay in tune to all the weekly shows. Whether they're on in the background, I DVR it, or whatever. Just know that that's why you're here, and that's why I'm here for you, because I need this as much as you do. And I sincerely, really appreciate you guys being here. 1 hour and 5 minutes to put up with me. I greatly appreciate your time. You stay safe. Have a great weekend. Enjoy what you're doing. Family, love, positivity, faith, motivation, inspiration, truth, spirituality. It's what you get here, along with chicanery and history and facts. And you learn something. Entertainment personified. keep on a lookout on my videos on shorts. Go over to the shorts section. I'm trying to build the shorts. I'll say that to say this, because I tell it like it is. Don't you dare miss it.